So for many of you, this is the hardest problem on the test. And I just want to remind you, let's talk about the standard form of a circle. So this equation right here, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, that's the form of the circle that we are most familiar with. It's called standard form. Now, if I have a circle written in this form, it's very easy for us to find the center because we will just flip both our x and y to get our center. And then to get our radius, we would take the square root of that guy over there. Our radius would be just r. So let's look at two examples of this. Over here, my center would very easily, I would flip the inside number, I would flip the inside number, we're going to flip, flip, and my radius would be 4, that's the square root of 16. For the second example, my center, well, right now I'm missing a number. That means that the number is really 0. I'm going to flip this guy. It becomes -2. And my radius would just be 3. Well, that's easy enough, but what happens when we get a problem like this? So we're not in standard form anymore. Now we're in expanded form. So in order to graph a circle, we need a center and a radius. We need a center and a radius. But from this form, we can't actually identify it or identify them. What's missing is these parentheses. Whoa, these parentheses here are what helped us flip. And then the number over here on the right side is what we took the square root of for our radius. Now, all that stuff is missing here. So we need to actually create these parentheses. Okay, we need to create them. That's called completing the square. Because in this standard form, this square, this is what I mean by the square, is something, something squared. Something, something whole squared. The squares are already completed. So we have to do that process. Now, it's not hard. You just have to remember a few steps. The first thing you need to remember is this. These first two steps go together. You have to group your x terms and your y terms. So right now I have x's here and here. I have y's here and here. And then there's just this like random constant at the end. Well, that's what step 2 is all about. Oh, wait, sorry. That's the second part of step 1. It says move the constant to the other side. So we're going to bring our x terms together first, right? Because doesn't our formula always have x first? So we need to keep our x's first, x squared plus 2x, and then we'll write our y's next. So keep the sign with it. This is plus y squared, and then this is minus 4y. I'm going to move the constant to the other side using addition or subtraction. In this case, I need to add 4 to both sides. So when I add 4, it disappears from the left side, and I just get equals positive 4 on the right. Great. So I'm done with step 1. Step 2 says, hey, insert some blanks after each pair of x and y terms. So this is what I mean by a pair of terms. Since there are 2 x terms, that's a pair of x terms. It's a pair. I'm going to put a blank afterwards, so we need to rewrite this. X squared plus 2x blank. And then I also have to put after, since I have a pair of y terms, they also need a blank. So plus y squared minus 4y blank. And I'll just rewrite my constant equals 4. But notice what we're going to do. We're going to add a number here. We're going to add a number here. That means that I need 2 blanks on the right side to even it out, to keep this balanced. So that's step 3. It says balance blanks on both sides. That's what I just did. I have 2 on the left, I have 2 on the right. Here's the equal sign in the middle. So step 3 says now you want to balance the blanks on both sides, and then here's what you fill into the blanks. It's b divided by 2 squared. Now what do I mean by b? Well, this is kind of like the b term for the x's. And this is kind of like the b term for my y's. And so to fill in my x blank and my y blank, I need to do this process. Take that b value, which is 2. You're going to divide it by 2. You can show the work right there if you want to. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. But then you have to square that. That's this piece. Square it. So 1 squared is 1. So put a plus 1 here. Well, if I added 1 on the left, I have to add 1 on the right. Let's do the same thing here. You're going to divide it by 2. That gives me -2 and we have to square it. So negative 2 squared is positive 4. Well, if I added 4 on this side, I have to add 4 over here also. So before I go anywhere else, I'm just going to rewrite this crazy long thing. That's x squared plus 2x plus 1 plus y squared minus 4y plus 4 equals, now 4 plus 1 plus 4 is 9. You don't have to rewrite it if you don't want to, because our very next step is to go into our, is to complete the square right away. Remember, what does it mean to complete the square? It means I've got something, something whole squared, something, something whole squared, and there's always a plus sign in the middle. That's what the equation for circle looks like. Now you have to figure out, well, what goes inside here? Okay, I have 2 spots. Well, since I'm doing my x's first, I'll put x. Now I have to figure out what goes next to x. Well, make a note to yourself. Remember how we had taken that b and divided it by 2? That was this step right here. Yeah, that's the number that goes right there. So when we divided b by 2, we had gotten 1. We squared it, we put it over there. Well, the inside number, the 1, the positive 1, that goes right here. Similarly, when we took negative 4, we divided by 2, we got negative 2. That's the number. And these are my y terms. So I need a y. And that's actually done. We're done. We have found the standard form. So now to find my center, I just flip both. So it's negative 1, positive 2. And to find my radius, I take the square root of the 9, which is 3. You then plot it like this. This is an x term, this is a y term. So on your x-axis, go back 1. On your y-axis, positive 2. Now you're going to count up 3, down 3, over 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then to the left 3. Draw your circle. That's all there is to it. Here's another practice one. If I had said x squared plus 4y, x squared plus y squared minus 2y plus 10x equals 11. Okay, try this one yourself. And then pause the video here and see how you do. All right, so first we have to group our x and y terms. Here's my x's, so x squared plus 10x. Here's my y's, so plus y squared minus 2y. And since my constant's already on the other side, I was actually okay just to leave that there. Now we have to put blanks after our pairs of terms. Two blanks on the left, so 2 blanks on the right. So what goes in here? Well, take 10 divided by 2, that's 5. Then you're going to square it. That's 25, positive 25. Let's do the same thing here. Take negative 2, because that's my b term, is negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, and then square it. So that's plus 1 here. If I added 25, I have to add 1 as well. Okay, so now you could rewrite it or you don't have to, but you're ready to complete the square. 11 plus 25 is 36 plus 1 is 37. Okay, so I already realized I made kind of a mistake creating this problem, because that should have been a nice number like 36 or 49 or 100, something that you could take the square root of for your radius. So this is a really ugly radius, that's fine. Let's see if you did this part right though. So what goes in here? You should have put x, and then 10 divided by 2 is plus 5. So just the b divided by 2 is what goes there. B divided by 2 is what goes there. This would be y, and then b divided by 2, that was negative 1. So this would have been the final equation. And it would have a center at, see if you can get it before I do, negative 5, positive 1.